We are ready.
That was Dave.
Okay. I am going to go ahead and call the November Finance Committee meeting to order. And we can go ahead and start with roll call. Lisa Beck,
Charlie Van Waldron.
Bobby Price, Amy Jackson. All right, thank you all for being here today. And any announcements or correspondence you'd like to share? And any citizens' concerns? Okay, that brings us to new business, and I put review of the September financials on our agenda, which I put on there, and then I was like, well, why am I putting this on there? Because they've already been reviewed by the city council and approved and everything, but they're September, and we're already moving into November, but they're our most recent posted financials. But I felt like the financials are a good thing for us to have at the top of our mind and monthly reviewing, so I wanted to make sure you had them here so that you don't have to go necessarily looking for them on our site. And were you able to see the graph format that was emailed to you? Or that's something we started in the last year or so. And it's been very helpful to see the big picture, per se, of where we're at. And we've added, just for ease, where we're at in the fiscal year note on the front. So it's easy to kind of track the percentage wise. And then also there was a couple things with the September finances and the Q2 tax collection, and then doing a CIP, like gathering and compiling all of that information to get it to you guys in enough time while all in the first week when everything's like ready to go or it's when we've got everything brought in was quite challenging. So I'm sorry that it was also late for you, and I don't know if that means if you don't mind getting a little later, or if we want to look at maybe the second Thursday of the month as an option. So something that we can be thinking about, that would give a little bit more time to get it to you the materials to you a little sooner. Also, if we did it the second week of the month, we might be able to be the first to see that current month's financials too. So that's something to consider or think about. We don't have to make a decision now, but I think it's something good to be thinking about. Any questions on the financials for September? Okay. So then that brings us into our next business item, and that's the review of the Q2 tax collections for both food and beverage and transient lodging tax. And I like to point out that we are missing a few of the establishments payments for this quarter. For the July to September period, we have I think it was three places that have not submitted their payments but have posted them. So we have an idea, and I wanted to share what we are looking to bring in from that is about $131,000-ish. So that puts us up. Oh, excuse me. No, that was my note of how much we expect to be up. We are bringing in about $110,000 is what we're expecting from those three establishments that haven't paid yet. So it does put us over where we were last year at this time. So we're going to be.
That's just for that quarter, July to September.
Yeah.
That's the 110.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because I looked at that and went, okay, I guess the concerns that it wasn't as busy this summer are overstated.
Yeah.
Or
but
the prices are higher and therefore we have higher revenue.
Right.
Because of the inflationary pressures on food prices.
Right, because we're bringing in a percentage of whatever it
That's
is.
right.
So
Yeah.
yes.
So you don't know if it's more seats being utilized,
Mhm.
turnover being
Mhm.
utilized, or how much of that is inflationary
Mhm.
with respect to the revenue. So
Yeah, so we can expect that 777 or 777,386 number to go up about $100,000
Okay.
in total that we'll bring in, which puts us above what we collected in that same quarter last year, which
do we have do we have any sense from the hospitality industry, what has been the overall average price increase per um, person as far as food and beverage is concerned, related to just increases in prices versus increases in,
yeah,
it just,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting
That
to
would be-
see what the effect of inflation is doing on this number
Mhm.
versus the effect of more people coming and partaking in food and beverage opportunities in the city of Yahoo.
Yeah, that's a very good question, a very interesting question to apply to
Yeah.
this because I have not asked that
Yeah,
question or had that conversation.
Yeah, I think looking at what's your,
Mhm.
what is your average, you know, and it may be per table, revenue. um, it may have it may have gone up.
So maybe like a good question is like, what is your price, what is the overall price increase per average table?
Yeah, or something to that effect.
Mhm.
How do they differentiate between we've served more people versus we've charged more money for the
Mhm.
same number of people? Right?
Mhm.
You could also potentially ask the hotels, what if then,
Mhm.
what are their rate increases? Because that's also a percentage, we're getting a percentage off of that rate
Mhm.
increase as well. So that way you can make a determination, is there lower numbers of people coming to Yachats, but we're still getting higher tax revenue because it costs more to come here
Right,
per person.
right. Seeing the numbers that we're seeing are not necessarily reflecting some of the sentiment that I have heard from a few, not all,
Right.
but a few of the hospitality
Saying business
business.
is
Yeah,
slower,
saying business
right?
is slow.
So how does business
Mhm.
become slower and we still generate more tax
Mhm.
revenue? That doesn't make sense. So there must be price increases and the pricing of that. Is that dissuading people from coming to Yachats, or is that
Mhm.
just necessary because their labor costs are higher and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Right.
So
Part of that-
at least trying to dissect, is it volume versus inflation?
Part of the comments that I was hearing, I was just almost wondering if it was like even just feeling, if like they were actually saying that off of their numbers or if they were saying that off of the feeling of it felt that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite possible when you're looking at this year versus, say, 2 years ago, when everybody was coming here because they didn't want to travel anywhere else. Vacation rental numbers
Mhm.
doing what we thought they would do. Right?
Absolutely.
Based on
Usage.
usage of the licenses, just to see that almost $20,000 increase just in that 3-month period. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we had a person come in at the end of October asking to forfeit their vacation rental license and to have their water reestablished to residential rate. And he said, no problem. And we got them removed off the commercial and removed them. And we looked at their history, and they hadn't collected tax on it since 2018. So that, it is exactly
It's
doing
exactly,
that.
yeah, I mean, it's, if you're not gonna rent it, then you want those licenses used, that was an incentive
Yeah.
to do so, so. And hopefully that license has now been reissued.
Yes. Well, I know that there was a contact made for the next period, at least an inspection set up.
What's the waiting list looking like?
Well, I had thought it was lower than it is, so I had said 6 last time I was asked, but it's actually higher and
Okay.
closer to 16.
Okay.
That was in the 20s, but Lorraine just knocked through.
She knocked a bunch down. Yeah.
So there's still demand out, there
Mhm.
for a limited number of licenses, so,
Mhm.
okay, you wanna hold on to your license and not collect taxes, that's fine, you'll be happy to pay the higher commercial rate.
When we are redoing our short-term vacation rental license code right now too, and we have added that in, is that they need to show that they've collected tax within the last 2 years to be able to continue using it. So between the combination of things, we should be keeping them active, which is helping clearly in our revenue stance, so.
It's all beneficial.
Any comments, any other comments on the transient lodging tax or?
Yeah, I think maybe, again, I don't know what you think about maybe doing surveying the hotels as well as the food and beverage people to find out what your average invoice price, your average room rate, just what's the increases, just find out what over, and again, just focus on July to September as a, because they know what those numbers are. They know what their numbers were. And then what their occupancy rate is, especially for the hotels.
Well, I think that would be good to do in a actual Survey Monkey. We have that as a option, and then it can come back anonymous
Yep.
from them. They don't have to share
Yeah.
their exact, who it is. They can kind of keep some proprietary information private that way. So maybe would you guys be interested in helping me compile some questions that would gear towards this? All of you?
I'll defer
Yeah.
on that one. But yeah, I mean, how many, what's your average table turn at each of the meals would be helpful. What's the average? It's basically your average table charge, right? I know that the Drift automatically charges 20% for gratuity, but we are not getting a percentage off of that. We're only getting a percentage off of the actual food and beverage cost, not the gratuity. So it's just making sure that they back out the gratuity if the Drift ends up giving us.
Then should we maybe ask like 2020, like July, like this same quarter, third quarter, July through September 2025,
versus
and then 24 and 23, maybe to get a couple years, or just like the two?
Let's just get 24 to 25 because, just to see whether or not, because when you look at, you go 434, 435, and then 459 in 24, 25, and that's when you probably saw some of that inflationary pressure kicking in, and then it jumps to 483. So between 23 and 24, you've got almost a $50,000 increase just in hotels. And then if you add in that 110, you're really not looking at a big increase in food and beverage.
And I will note that one of our largest, what we're missing in food and beverage is one of our largest contributors in this quarter.
Okay. But that's
pretty significant,
110,
yeah.
So then you're up at 260 versus 197. So how much of that is just due to higher food cost and higher prices that they're charging their customers, right? What were your menu prices in 24, 25 versus 25, 26, July to September?
And I thought, Bobby, in the email we were missing 3 food and beverage and 2 TLTs.
Is that what Lorraine has is the correct one right here. So it's one F&B and three TRT.
And the food and beverage one that we're missing is 110? No.
No, that's just the collective
Oh,
of
okay.
all of the what
Oh,
we're
oh.
missing. Mhm.
So how much is the food and beverage one that we're missing?
I think about 45.
45,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so I mean, basically it's 197 versus
Mhm.
194, 195
Mhm.
in food and beverage tax between those two summers. And you have inflationary pressure, right? So how much of that is it really they had fewer people here? Right, if you've got basically flat on food and beverage tax collections,
Mhm.
right? So we may be collecting about the same amount, but we've got fewer people coming.
Yeah, that'll be a good survey to do.
Yeah,
Help us understand the numbers a little bit more.
yeah, because I mean, if you keep on, if we keep on throwing more tax, you just keep increasing some of these percentages just to make ends meet, does that keep reducing the number of people that come?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be a balancing act with some of this stuff.
What do you guys think about the 2-year history versus the one year history?
I wouldn't want to make it too onerous on the reporters.
Mm-hmm.
Having to take extra time to the back. Right?
Yeah.
I think once you survey, then use that as space and then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And is a survey better than maybe even the report to taxes just having with their answers to two of the
Our current reporting system does not allow for any additional anything. So, but we are close to getting our new one up and rolling where we can ask different questions. So those can be questions that we include into the future collection time so that we can continue building on that knowledge, information.
I can also see that being a little hesitant though to report via that survey, not via within an entity.
Yeah. Yeah. Proprietary information
Yeah.
that they. Yeah. So, I mean, you could also ask them how they feel about that.
True.
And because we would keep it private. We wouldn't share that information out. So.
Yeah, but cost per table, I mean,
Mhm.
and then how many times your tables are turning?
Mhm.
I mean, that's just kind of good average information to
Mhm.
understand what's going on.
Mhm.
That way you've got the data to also support when you're getting these comments that it's just not as busy.
Mhm.
Getting room vacancy rates per month. They are managing to that.
Mhm.
How often they're turning their tables, they are managing that. So
They should know.
they should know.
Yeah.
That should not be a surprise to anybody.
Yeah. Any more thoughts or comments? I think that's a good direction to go. We'll work with you guys on that.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Put something together for you.
Thank you. Thank you. So that brings us to our URD discussion. Did you have a chance to take a look at that video that I sent
I did not.
before? It was 2 hours. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
no, I did not. No, I've been grading papers. And no, I did not.
I have to admit I was multitasking most of the time that I listened to it, but I just had my computer screen up while cooking and
A lot of, again, it's a lot of
Mhm,
Q&A
mhm,
and it only pertained to a certain few, so
mhm.
we'll watch.
Yeah. The Q&A was helpful though, I
Very.
thought, as part of that. What are some things that you guys took from watching that video?
It's, I think it was presented well. She seems to know what she's done for 20 years.
Mhm,
So that's a good. A lot of good points. And it kind of taught me A lot of things I didn't know.
I thought it was really interesting hearing from elected, some of the counselors and mayor to, how do I explain to our constituents, our community, this is not an additional tax. And so I thought, the way it was explained and bringing it down to layperson terms and that I thought would be super helpful for any jurisdiction, that has. And I liked some of the hints, of they mentioned a certain county, how they do it the very clean way as pay as you go versus other, so I picked up quite a few things. But yeah, it was really well done.
I thought, I felt like I learned a lot from it. The urban renewal district is something that we have and we have had and we have access to it and we do a separate budget for it and I know about it, but I feel like I got a lot more language and just a deeper understanding of our urban renewal district, or if we, to plan on going for a new one or an extension of the one we have, just a deeper understanding of the mechanics of it. And one thing that I actually didn't know was the collection rate, how it's the 3% above that, where the point is where it starts first, and it takes time to get up to that. I this kind of, I guess I thought it was just like an automatic.
Instant.
Yeah. 3%. And so I didn't quite have that grasp, and that was helpful for me. I had put an email out to the list of city managers for our listserv to ask who they recommend for the helping with the consultant for the or doing your urban renewal district, and every single response was that woman who did the video, Elaine Howard. So I did reach out to her and ask, to let her know that we were interested in either doing a new one or expanding our current one, just getting a good understanding of what direction we should go with our urban renewal. And she is willing to come and do that for us. So I did send her our whole urban renewal, and she's going through it and she's evaluating it. And she's going to bring back to the finance committee and council a suggestion of what way to go with it, either a substantial amendment, which is, I think now learning the slow and steady gradual increase would be better for us to do if it's possible. And there's a couple things that may have been written into our current URD that wouldn't make it possible, but that's something that she's going to find out for us. So she'll come back with a recommendation if we should continue on with this one, or if we should with an amendment, or if we should go out for a new one, and what kind of projects we can put into those. And in one email, I just have been brainstorming projects that could be, I think, considered necessary.
Within
Yeah.
the existing district.
Well, no.
No.
Not all of them. Not all that were on my dream list.
Okay.
No, that was like kind of from a vision if we were going to do a new one, just spaghetti on the wall. Like just all the projects.
But not all the ones are.
No, not all of them would be in that existing district. We'd have to pare it down, but I think we could do that. There's
The presentation was good because she explained the urban renewal tax, so it's their own tax state. And I saw where it actually took 3% off of everything else. So in bottom line, there's no change in our taxes.
Yeah, another thing I did not know that I learned was that that additional tax that we were gaining is mostly coming from our special districts. So that's another benefit of continuing on, is that they're already used to that contribution in rate versus any kind of like lack of, if we stop one and then build up to another, it kind of keeps it on a steady path. So I think that's another benefit of it too. But I think our special district looks like on the taxes, a pretty substantial share of the property tax from Yachats residents. So I think that seems like the best bet if that's possible within our district. And that's what she'll come back with. So she gave two options for when she comes back with her suggestions, and doing kind of a meeting with us and with city council and the involved partners to do it in person or via Zoom. Via Zoom is obviously much less expensive, but it's still affordable to have her come in person. I think that there's good value in having somebody come in person. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I would imagine city council would probably prefer that, and just to cut down on the amount of their time, it would be wise to have a joint meeting with city council and the finance committee versus just having
Definitely.
two separate presentations.
Oh, definitely. I would want to have it all together. And then we're all hearing this exact same conversation and questions and answers and things like that.
Yeah, as long as city council wouldn't mind sharing the meeting with us.
I don't think so.
You should prepare the city council.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. There'll be some work. Well, yeah. To do that.
I found some of the little nuances, you don't have to have a duration provision.
Mhm.
And when I looked at the feasibility study from 2006, it was 20 years. Like, this was 2006, we're going into 26. Now, that was a huge document with 5 different attachments, so I didn't read every word. But, so I don't know if that's what it ended up with or what our maximum indebtedness
I think,
was.
yeah, I think we were going off the maximum indebtedness, which is like if we were to spend at the rate we are spending or plan to have it spend for the projects, it puts it out to 2029.
Yeah, it's coming to a close.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna do
Yeah.
something,
Right now is definitely, I feel like, the time to be doing it. I honestly, watching that video, got oddly excited about urban renewal district and like the project of it. I feel like it's a great project, and I really am looking forward to taking it on and the things that we can do with it for the city, which is.
so what were some of the, and again, you don't have to share this at this time if you don't want to, but what were some of the ideas that you were coming?
My
up with?
spaghetti.
Your spaghetti on the
Yeah.
wall, but or in the district.
Yeah, in the district, spaghetti on the walls was continuing the phase 2 and phase 3 sidewalks with the lighting, the decorative lighting, and some tree plantings and landscaping along to help with some traffic calming measures. And then we have this master plan that we've created for the community area space, the green space and everything. So utilizing some of that for completing that or working towards completion of that plan, maybe a portion of that plan at least. So one of the goals that city council has is housing, middle income housing. One of the property we were looking at for the water tank, there was a hope that there could be a tied project, and it just is not really feasible for that. We're looking at a different property, that Rick found, that is our property that we own, right behind the water treatment plant and off Yachats River Road on the northwest corner of the property. There's a flat spot that hits the right elevation level and would be quite a bit less expensive to prepare the land and road access for the tank. And we'd be able to go for 1.5 million gallon tank versus just 1 million or multiple small ones. So it's a much better seeming location. We have to still embark on the geotechnical tests and everything to fully let us know if that's the right spot. But with that, we're losing some of that potential for middle housing or low, affordable housing options. So We do have a handful of properties that would fall into our nuisance code for neglected, just either neglected properties or abandoned properties that we could go through the process to do a foreclosure on or condemn. But we have to have a plan of how to do something with it or what to do and have money for the cleanup and everything with that. So I'm thinking if we could have some money for some of those neglected properties or abandoned properties that we could clean up and then do a land trust model with Habitat for Humanity or the Oregon Housing Association, Northwest Housing Development. And they come in and they can do all of the build and all of the housing rentals and selling and all of that all becomes theirs, but we still own the land, so it becomes affordable for them to do all of the building and the housing options, but it becomes a land trust model. So you can put covenants so that it has to, whenever it's sold, it has to be in this affordability bracket. I think we have some properties that are in this urban renewal district that we might be able to look at that as projects. And the other that I had was a lot of communities use urban renewal district for Main Street Association work. I mean, Main Street Association is just a group that people can, all get together and talk about how they're fixing up their main streets. But a lot of the things that are done through that is and it doesn't necessarily have to be done through that, but they provide economic development kind of grants to businesses to do facade fixing and things like that.
Okay.
So those are just some of the things that I had for my spaghetti.
Now, that piece of property that Rick found, that wouldn't be good for a new water treatment plant or a new wastewater treatment plant?
Not wastewater,
No?
but I think we could do I think we could get our water up out of there.
Okay.
Maybe, Rick, or move our water treatment plant up, but I think that's out of our district and we would have to have a new,
Oh, that would
like
be
a
okay.
separate thing, but I did put that on the list.
Yeah,
On a new water treatment plant.
I still want that wastewater treatment plant.
No, you do.
away.
You can use URB funds for the plant as it serves.
Even if it's out of the district?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was on my wish list, moving the water treatment plant up and the new tank.
Found that out like 10 years ago. We couldn't use the money for Reedy Creek,
Oh.
so does that serves.
Mm.
But I don't know if we're fine them. After this.
Well, I would hope that you'd be part of the conversation when we have Elaine come and talk about how we can, use our urban renewal district. When we do the amendment and stuff and the projects that we want to get nailed down for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and all these other items like prettying up Main Street and
Mhm.
more sidewalks. I think you get more traction with this when you start talking about water
Mhm.
and sewer,
Mhm.
right? So while those are lovely, water, sewer, streets, then people are going, I'm on board.
We love our infrastructure.
Well, it's not, you don't have to frighten people.
Right.
It's, everyone who lives here has a good understanding that that's where we need to be spending.
Well, yeah, I think that those should always be our top priorities. Absolutely. Absolutely. Those were top on my wish list, but I thought they were outside the district when we started talking about amendment, but I'm glad that for that piece of knowledge, that was not in the video.
I still want that wastewater. Nothing's gonna happen to the wastewater treatment, but I'd much rather have that outside of, or somewhere on the east side of 101.
North side of the city
Yep.
limits.
Yep. Yep.
East.
Yep. That's love for that to go there.
We haven't even paid off the loan yet,
It
though.
doesn't matter. It's just, that thing, and it's right in the middle of town, right? You want to talk about putting housing. right? That's a good place.
That seems wild to me.
Yes, I know. Okay. Dream big.
It is gonna dream big.
Well, yeah, I just want this, there's lots of different things. You've covered a lot of different ideas and, all of these things are just, okay, what's the one thing that city council ultimately the elected officials ultimately want to decide to do? We don't decide anything. We just,
Definitely.
we're here to investigate and throw ideas out there. That's all.
We'll give them the noodles to make the spaghetti.
That's right.
Any other thoughts, for you guys?
Sounds like it's a video I need to watch at some time. All right. I will.
Yeah, it's a good one. It was really beneficial, I think, and I look forward to having her come and meet with us and educate everybody. So also in our last meeting, we talked about the potential of a LID, a local improvement district for streets. And Dave put this list together. Dave, you want to come talk a little bit about the Horizon Hill, Spruce Hill stuff that you created for us?
Which would you like me to start with, paving or just how it looks?
Let's go into just like the overview of the project.
Start with the map.
Okay.
I do apologize for getting that so late to you yesterday, Bobby, but there's a lot of information in here and it took a while to get.
There is. It really well done and well put together. It's very understandable. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's what the maps.
But I did put the color pictures in the back to show.
Well, I'm gonna log in and show the maps up on the screen just so anybody else can follow along. Will you make sure that you add me as a host when I get logged in? Thank you. Okay, let me see. Get pulled up.
Yeah, notes.
Thank you for your patience while I pull this up. Okay. So we've got the Horizon Hill map starting with the Spruce and Horizon pavement issues, showing the lots that have houses and then the houses that are underdeveloped,
Yeah, so,
starting at the top of the hill.
yeah, so that's the first section from.
Oh yeah, that's the bottom. Yeah, okay, see, yeah.
So Spruce Street actually was part of the first main street to be paid for our next budget. For the next fiscal year, that's their next hotspot. But Horizon Hill itself is also becoming the next hotspot, all on its own. So I marked the houses. You'll see some houses that are not marked. Those are houses that are not accessed by Horizon Hill. But all the houses that are marked and all I think I have that as UDP for underdeveloped properties, those all have access. They use Horizon Hill and Spruce to get up to their place and so on. So that shows what their next map is. And there's a match line in there. I just didn't get it all drawn in, but the next map will show.
Want to go to the next map?
Oh, sorry.
So that's the rest of the way up, well, and the middle 1/3 of it. That goes all the way up past Hina. cul-de-sac thing up at the top of Blackstone. And again, that shows properties that are adjacent to the road, all the houses that have access and the properties, underdeveloped properties. I like that. Next map. And that right there, it's kind of turns sideways a little bit, but that shows that it goes to our 10,000 gallon LID map. So that was turned 100 or 90 degrees to the left, then that would match the rest of the maps. But where it stops right there, yeah, where it stops at the upper middle to the left, that common space area, that is where our LID 10,000 gallon tank is. And that, it's in my estimation that those properties shown on there, they will always, or for the most part, their trucks when they're building, concrete trucks, all that, they'll come up Horizon Hill. So I kind of added them onto they'll utilize the full spruce on up to there. They'll use that asphalt to get there. That section that continues to the left of there, that would go down Gimlet and then access from Hanley or Elk Mountain Road. Chances are they're not going to want to go up that steep turn and that steep grade. So all of the lower section would be a different quadrant, let's call it that. The rest of Gimlet that is septic tank effluent pumping system. And so where they just pump the effluent up there, not their solids, they're still responsible for emptying.
Or it's already.
Well, and these are probably places that were built in codes funds, so it's.
Mhm.
I think our code says the owner of all houses, buildings, property used for human occupancy, employment, recreation. Abutting a street, alley, or right of way in which there is a public sanitary sewer, the city is required at the owner's expense to install. And connect to such facilities. Directly to the proper public sewer. With high gravity approved pumping facilities. Yeah, so the code says that we could go in and say, you have to connect to the sewer.
Yes, if we had a sewer.
So that's the question, do we have a sewer that runs up?
Not there.
Not there. That's the missing piece.
Mhm.
So if you're gonna do an LID, is this what you do? Right? And then is that then the burden of all of these developed and undeveloped property owners
Mhm.
up Spruce, not necessarily Spruce, but up Horizon Hill to be able to get,
Will they be benefiting from the paving that would happen as part of the project?
yeah, but I mean, we're still responsible for the paving, right? That's
Mhm.
still, those are still city-owned
Mhm.
streets, right?
Mhm.
So is the, I think the paving is gonna get done on everybody's dime, not just on theirs.
I thought that was part of. The
LID.
yeah, LID stuff.
Mhm.
Pavement.
And yeah, that is part of the LID
Is it?
discussion, yeah.
All right.
Mhm. Just looking at ways to not do the $10 fee. And this is the most concentrated place that needs the most. And so having it a burden on the benefit being, because they're going to receive the benefit, so they would pay into that benefit and doing the whole project with septic, with sewer, water, and paving all at once. And having the property owners pay into the project versus everybody putting $10 a month
Right,
project when most of it's
when it's just really
concentrated.
there.
Mhm.
What do we think that pumping station would be and be able to provide sewer for those X number of properties? We're talking about $1 million here?
Yeah, so
But the SIP system could be a lot, an engineer.
Yeah, but I mean, but is that just
Station.
but is that just a stopgap? Should we be going for the best solution? Or is that gonna be a decent enough solution that's gonna last?
Well, it's a common solution in a lot of towns.
Is it?
And it's designed for areas. Sewer might not be feasible.
we need to take a deeper look into that. This is just scratching the
Mhm,
surface. So,
mhm. Yeah.
Engineers would tell us what. we can do.
Yeah. But our first step was to kind of get an idea of all of the properties how many properties, which properties would be benefiting, all of the paving pieces. Was the little bit easier to grab in the amount of time since our last conversation. And then, how many properties have septic And so then I think our next, according to our code and how an LID is put in place, the next would be to, continue figuring out how much all of this is going to cost and making a whole project proposal. And also identifying the addresses of every single house.
Right, so there's 74 properties based on this summary. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
74 property.
Here, I'll pull that up. You want me to the file, right? Okay.
This is every one of those patches going up. And I did the first one page, it's an item organization, and the second page was the priority.
Right.
So there's 29 of them in there on patching. On the second page, that's that one right there. That shows spruce right there is the top. And then the next one, that was 11,000 feet. The total altogether is about 36. And if we were to do all of those projects, we'd be looking at somewhere around 200,000 probably. Yep. And so on, all of them, if we did them all like in the next year, but you stretch it out, the cost is gonna go up and so on. Some of that maybe in the future, Public Works will be doing some of the smaller paving projects also. If certain tools are purchased and so that's kind of where that is. And I did this as if the city was gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And alligatoring, if I was tasked to go prioritize in the next 5 years, this is what we would put. So when we go to that page where it's done by priority, we'll see that the priority 4s and 5s, there's a lot of those, but maybe in 3 and 4 years, 5 years from now, those are gonna be number 1s anyways. And there'll be more, we don't work on it. So you'll see alligatoring, the minimum stuff. Usually when you start seeing the medium alligatoring, there's a few years before it's gonna start popping out. Where that's what's going on up at the top. So
So $1 million project is for those 74, because it would be shared by those 74 properties. Is that also include 74 properties, also include the spruce properties? You, as the homeowners that are benefiting from this over the next 5 years, 10 years, need to pay in and pay off the bond. Is that how this works? Right? So if you're looking at $1 million project, you're looking at around $14,000 per property, spruce, all the way up to the all 74 properties.
And they would pay that over.
They pay that over a 5-10 year period, what that is, it's an additional assessment in their property taxes. So
And then if they sold the property, that.
they sold the
Yeah.
property, right? So it'd be another, if they do it over 10 years and it's 14 grand total, so it's $1,400 more. But you also have to factor in the financing cost as well
Right.
to do the all in. Can't ignore the financing cost if we're upfronting the money, right? So it's not just the hard dollars, it's the hard dollars plus the interest cost that we would have to, because we'd have to go out into the bond market and borrow the money. And then it's a matter of, how much pushback you're gonna get from those 74 properties.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the bigger question is, you know, how much more aggressive do we want to get on continuing down this path? Or, you know, do we want to stretch out only doing streets 100, you know, we've got $110,000 a year in our CIP and we have other roads that need to be done too. Do we just take a little bit at a time? Or maybe you know, so you have Spruce in this next year budgeted and the north part of Radar. And then the following year, adding in some of the upper ones. That wouldn't take care of sewer. We'd be paving and not adding any sewer connections at that point. So that would be not doing really the full picture.
But the part is, if we put sewer in there, it would be prudent to know whether or not we're gonna cross the road, then we need to get a pipe in there.
Mhm.
Futures.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, Dave and I have been discussing investing in ourselves. And like buying a drum roller to smooth out concrete, asphalt. We've watched enough contractors and road driveway to feel like we could probably do patch, not lay a whole road, but we could certainly do patchwork. And that would give us control over our patching. Right now it's road and driveway and they show up when they show up. And they do a good job, but it would certainly be a return on investment, pretty good, no matter. I'm looking at used ones, I'm sure it varies, you know, but you know, $20,000 to $40,000 to buy a drum roller. I'm looking at a cheap one for $6,000, but we don't have any fixing.
No, but I mean, then throw that, if you know, if you think the cost benefit's gonna be there, then when we do the CIP this year,
Yeah,
ask for it.
we'll present it to Public Works and Streets and get it chewed on. And thought about, and then move it up the chain.
Yeah, and you can put it, you can buy a fixed asset that's gonna last 10 years and it's gonna cut out being at the whim of some contractor who may or may not wanna come out to Yachts and do this. And we've got the expertise to be able to do it.
Yeah, we could take care of, you know, complaints come up throughout the year.
Yeah.
And we could take care of it.
Mhm. And we've been really building our team to be able to do more projects and having to contract out less. So that'd be a tool to help continue on that.
We're thinking that direction.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of doing all of Horizon Hill, including the sewer, instead of just doing a patchwork,
Mhm.
this patchwork idea on Horizon Hill. Get the sewer in, whatever pumping system you think is gonna be best, or whatever the engineers think is gonna be best up there. Get all that installed. Get that part, and that maybe will give an incentive for those undeveloped properties to become developed.
If you're talking about pavement, kind of like what Dave was talking about, like you pave and put a pipe across the road. You ruin the paving.
Right.
There is a water line that's in the water master plan due for replacement on Horizon Hill Road. And it's estimated cost is $750,000. So. Yeah, it's a lot of money. You know, that'd be really great to do all of the water and sewer and pave.
I would like to just add to that water line that's scheduled for replacing. We had a lot of issues with that in the spring. And there were some major issues with it where pressure stuff with problems or so. It needs it. And then there's also a water line that comes down from the 126, 125 up from Blackstone. That's a thin wall, white 2-inch or gray 2-inch PVC pipe. That needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
I would say so.
That's one that you have to be very careful when you're probing for.
Just poke a hole.
What's the appetite of city council and all this stuff?
Just a second.
Yep.
Kids trying to figure out where they're supposed to be. Um, I know that city council wants to do the best for the city and moving forward, and the streets are something that we are, have been talking about. And for a long time now, it's not a new conversation topic, and have been, tossing around the different ways to, increase the cost burden per se to residents. And I think this would be a less broad stroke and a lot more focused. I think that they would be interested in hearing more about it and learning more about it. I want to get it really filtered out here first before we really take it up to the chain to them. But I think that they would be on board generally. What's your thoughts, Mayor?
There's bias. I think that's, I live down a corner lot.
Mm-hmm.
Two major water and sewer projects come by my house.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as burdensome as you think. I mean, I admitted I was not wealthy at the time, but you had it on your property taxes and you just put it for 10 years for property. Just went out a certain amount per $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So from my perspective, based on my history, I would rather see us fix it and be done with it rather than be nickel and diming it. The question is burden on the 74 properties. I also would think that a lot of those properties could and should be developed. Those lots. Some of them may be very difficult to develop, I recognize that, but many of them could be developed.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be an incentive for whoever owns them to say, I don't want to pay the LID fee and sell them.
Somebody who will develop it. Yeah.
Somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also think that the council is not happy about having septic systems.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know who's inspecting those, how often they're inspected. We don't have, I don't know if we have records. The county keeps those records and we can see them or not. I know that talking to a couple of councilors over time, that there's concerns about how safe it is. Everybody downhill from those.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's incumbent upon us to figure out what is the cost to do everything. Right? Figure out what that looks like. What's that nut look like? And then allow the city council to decide whether or not they want to go forward with an LID.
Yeah.
And put the burden on those 74, or do you want to spread it across every property?
Yeah. So I did this myself. I said burden, but I think when we frame it and sell it, we should say benefit, because it is a benefit to each of those properties to have that done and to be able to have access to the sewer and to have nice smooth roads, and it really does fix up that whole neighborhood. And so, doing some of that wordsmithing, I did it. I was the first one to say it that way. So
Well, I mean,
it's
listen,
like-
there's a cost and a benefit,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So it comes down to how well you are articulating what the
Mhm.
actual costs are gonna be, and being able to articulate what is gonna be the benefit to those 74 homeowners or 74
Yeah.
property owners, right? So
Mhm.
that's, you can't just sit there and say it's all a benefit,
Right,
right?
right.
Then you're just being disingenuous.
That's true. Yeah. So next steps, we can look at the whole, the adding in the cost for the sewer and water lines. We want to do both. And work on making a full presentation on it
Yeah.
according to how our code's written, so that it's preparing for that step of getting the community buy-in or neighborhood buy-in. So we'll follow the code to the project, and maybe we could show you where we're at in that in December, but we might not, you know, it's gonna take time to really develop, so I don't wanna rush us too much with everything we have going on, so.
Focused on January now.
Yeah, let's, maybe shoot for
You
January.
gotta be shooting, you're gonna.
Maybe not even show you what we have yet in January, bring it back, or February, or sorry,
Not-
December.
Yeah.
Bring it back in January.
Dave, start thinking about these, the paving not as these little alligatoring thing, but repave the whole thing.
I was gonna state that it will probably be more expensive if we did it by the priority. If we just did it segment at a time. Their equipment's there, they're not restaging.
Right.
We're mobilizing.
Right, I think you're just gonna sit there and go, we're gonna repave all of Horizon Hill. You're not going, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about, and you're gonna put
That
in.
can even be in the base process.
Yeah, I mean, you got that, you got that water line that you wanna get replaced, you got this other water line that needs to get replaced, right? Replace those, pave that whole section, assuming that sewer also doesn't have to go in there. Figure out what each of those big blocks are gonna be, when they need to be, not necessarily when they need to be done, but what those big blocks are gonna be and what are today's costs. And then we can build in an inflation factor over time. You don't have to figure out what it's gonna be like in 28, 29. We'll build in an inflation factor to figure out what those future costs are gonna be. And then we can create this LID, and this is what the costs are, but guess what? You get a brand new, you get no more septic system
Mhm.
or reduced septic system where the
Mhm.
hard, the whatever, what do you call it? The hard stuff?
Solids.
The solids, thank you. Solids stay up there and the effluent ultimately gets pumped out or whatever is gonna be the best thing. And now you don't have to worry about pumping it because it's getting pumped and the solids stay in the ground up there. Is that right?
Well, they would have it pumped themselves from a septic system.
Okay,
Septic pump.
Okay.
Empty the tank.
empty the tank, but it's for just the solids, right?
Yeah, and the reason, what makes that so good is you're pumping basically some sort of a semi-clear liquid. So you don't have to worry about things blocking. As long as we ban the grinder, no grinding pumps,
Okay.
stuff.
We have a project.
Anyway, those are just my opinions. What do you guys think?
Well, one thing in the back of my mind is the undeveloped properties owned by developers or contractors. I mean, it's almost fixing something up and going on.
The undeveloped properties?
Yeah.
Well, so, but again, I think it gives, as the mayor pointed out, it gives an incentive for those people who do own it and are not gonna get the benefit because they don't plan on building anything. That's gonna give them the incentive to sell it to somebody who will build it, right? So you increase housing stock here in the city by forcing individuals to pay for this improvement that they don't perceive that they're actually gonna benefit from. So might as well sell it out of their estate to somebody else, get the cash, and then let somebody else ultimately have to pay for the taxes, have to pay for the LID fees.
On our LID and so I think we just put liens on the property, pay as they sell the property. We do.
So they don't pay each year with their taxes, they just pay as they sell?
Well, we assess them like once a
Mhm.
year. But if they sell it, the LID has to be paid off.
Mm.
So they usually will take care of that in escrow.
Mm.
Otherwise, you can't sell it if you have a lien on it,
Mhm.
so I won't release it unless we have the money in our hand.
Mhm. So that's a good way to ensure
Oh, yeah.
that you get that, but they still do pay on it in their taxes each year.
No, our LIDs, we take.
We only collect when they sell.
We figure out what their monthly payments are gonna be, so how long the LID is for. And then we just collect from them twice a year, but if this LID, you want them to send in a check once a month or quarterly, or, that's up to you guys, but this particular LID was only done twice to make a payment.
Okay. All right, so it's,
Twice a year, they make a twice a year payment?
Yeah, some of them had, higher amounts that they were paying, and some of them had the lowest amount you could pay, like $212 was the lowest amount you could pay twice a year. And some had agreements where they wanted to pay it off within 5 years, or, you know, so that they didn't have it.
Are there still liabilities out there for that LID?
Yeah, we just have, just a couple left.
Okay,
Actually, one entity has like 5 lots left, and then we've got another one that's just sitting out there. So, yeah, we're just about done collecting on them all.
How much does it cost to put a lien on a property?
$94.
That way also the customer doesn't have to come up with the money that way.
Mhm.
To be a burden, that would be a burden. To come up with a few grand.
So currently, about the lowest is
$12.
$212 per month, or per twice a year, excuse me.
Yeah, semi-annual. And I charge for the, placing the liens and releasing the liens ahead of time. So that we don't have to go back and figure out what that's gonna be, so there's a price on top of
Did
that.
you have people that didn't pay and just paid when they sell?
Yeah,
Okay,
mhm.
all right, but there's like.
Because the
compound-
lien remains, so it doesn't really matter.
Is there like compound interest?
And it's figured out already, there's tables for each lot that we had, so every
So-
time you enter in a payment you received, it reduced it in principal and added the interest and so on, so it just told you what you needed to bill them every, semi-annually. So, yeah, the tables were built.
Can you share that with me?
Uh-huh.
Thanks.
I would like to see that too.
Yes.
Because.
Maybe you can send it out to all of us.
I'm trying to get that in my
Yeah.
head, where that is that a receivable sitting on our financial statements, or is this? No,
No, this is kept manually separately. They don't have that set up I mean, we didn't have the accounting system either to put those in, so it's just managed.
okay,
There's still gonna be like a line item that goes to it.
It is, there's an LID, there's a line item, Diane would know those numbers on where they go.
whenever money comes in,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But not
You have to
necessarily,
post it to a specific place, to
okay,
the LID payments.
okay, but not necessarily a receivable that
No.
was booked for everything.
Really manage that.
Okay, so that's off balance sheet.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. I'm sure it's not gonna be totally done in January.
No,
But we'll get
but listen,
progress.
this is
It's
step
good
one,
progress,
right?
yes,
You gotta have step one.
for sure. One foot in front of the other.
You gotta have the
Yeah.
first step, and this is the
Yeah.
first step, at least trying to figure out what the
Yeah.
project might be.
Yeah, for sure.
And
That's a
trying-
big part, a
and
big
then
step.
Figuring out how to cost it,
Yeah.
and
big
then, then you gotta have the political will to actually go forward with it, right?
You think the political will's there?
I think though that some of the citizens at the top of Verizon would like to have their vote.
Mhm.
No, it's not.
You know. You get more buy-in from people at the top than you will at the bottom.
Well, if
I-
you
you know-
wanna say the bottom, then the effluent will be running.
Mhm. I think that when there's a project that you know is really beneficial to the city and it needs to be done, and this is the way you do it, and you believe that that's really truly what needs to happen, then we'll be able to, respond to those. Because not everybody's gonna be happy no matter what we do. So, but if we believe that it's the right thing to do for the city as a whole, and then we can be fielding those with that.
It would get rid of payment complaints.
Yeah.
Yep, LID come for you.
Yeah.
Your areas.
Yeah, actually, that's a very interesting way of doing it. Well, we can always put together another LID for your particular area of the city.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I've already done that.
Have you? Has it worked?
No.
No.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to sell it to somebody south of the bridge to say we're gonna be spending, $1.5 million.
Right.
Rising, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the pushback comes.
Mm-hmm. But it's not coming from the people down at Driftwood that have great streets.
I mean, it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd have to be ready to answer if this is the new standard
Mm-hmm.
for improving streets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not just improving streets, right? This is improving streets, water and sewer, right? This is, don't look at it as a street improvement. This is infrastructure improvement. So we are focused on finding certain parts of the city that have serious infrastructure issues. We're going to isolate them. We're going to put infrastructure changes in place. And those particular parts of the city will ultimately pay just for those large infrastructure changes
That benefit them directly.
that benefit them directly. And that's just kind of the way you gotta start compartmentalizing this, that it's not just you. The people over in Driftwood are not paying for south of the bridge improvements, right? You, at south of the bridge, you're paying for those improvements, right? Why would you want,
Mhm.
why would you?
I think-
Do you want to pay for Horizon Hill south of the bridge?
It feels easier to sell, really. It
If
makes
you-
a lot of sense,
Yeah,
like doing it that
exactly.
way.
Yeah, but it's,
Mhm.
and, not everybody in that neighborhood wants to have it, but that's not your choice.
The greater good. Yep. Okay, so Neil,
Yes, Neil, I was so happy to see the grants. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, from 2 days ago, I just had grants received, but this morning I updated it to have grants anticipated on there too. Where we have,
are we starting with general or public works?
that first sheet back there.
General.
Okay, let's go general then. So we have our streets on there,
Oh, so this is. Okay,
yeah, streets and storm grants are part of general fund. And so we have. Which one was that? East Second Street Phase 3, and we spent about 6,500 out of 30,000 that we had budgeted. We're gonna be getting the final bill on that fairly soon here, I believe.
Yeah.
Got the certified payroll statements already, but we haven't actually seen the invoice yet.
Yeah, they're hiring it down.
Breakfast done.
Storm drains, we haven't spent any money on storm drains yet, so we've got.
It's coming.
that number still look good, 107? Yep, okay. Is that 165 on streets still look good? Okay.
City Hall, city services. So we spent basically right on the 6,000 for that city hall lighting upgrade. We got that done right quick after the fiscal year came through. That's good. The trolley purchase, we spent pretty much right on our budget number for that. We spent 127,000, 721,000, but we're anticipating receiving 50,000 in grants for that.
And some of it was in last grants received in last fiscal year too, that kind of
Yeah, we did
cover
last
from,
year.
yeah.
Didn't include spending or
Mhm.
received system.
Mhm.
How much, what, you had what, $70,000 grant last year or no? What was it?
So all in total, we received $100,000 from Travel Oregon, which 50 of that's still coming.
here,
So,
still coming.
and 100,000 from the Oregon Coast Visitors Association, which is in last fiscal,
Yep.
and 29 from the chamber, which was in last
Okay.
fiscal.
So 229 for
Mhm.
129,000, but some of that's for operations though, right?
No, so we paid some of the like deposits and the beginning payments to the trolley already in last fiscal year
Okay.
already. So it was like 230,000 altogether, and we
Okay.
brought in 229,000. Yeah. In grants. Yeah. So it's just been like this fiscal year.
Yeah, no, that.
Crossing
Yep, I
thing.
understand.
Mhm. And then the $13,000 radar trailer that's ordered and soon to be delivered, and that will come out of be spending too. So the,
And you said something about 60,000 for, what'd you say? That was last year, though. You said something about 60,000?
60,000 for which? Oh, 6,000.
6,000, okay.
Yeah, the city hall lighting upgrade,
Okay.
yeah, we spent 5,900 out of the 6,000. so-
Okay.
Yeah, that was this fiscal year, we just did it. Right,
Nice.
fiscal year stuff
Mhm.
switched over. So yeah, the radar speed trailers coming soon, and the Connex replacement, we're gonna be doing that fairly soon too. I think we're just ironing out the details of where we're placing the product.
Okay.
Hope you haven't seen. On Parks Trails, the boardwalk construction, so we budgeted 250,000 and only spent 7,700, that's engineering costs at this point. But we're anticipating, it's been confirmed that we're gonna receive that grant at 732,000. We didn't budget for it because we didn't know for sure that we were gonna get it. No. So at some point we'll need to do a supplemental budget.
to receive it.
Receive it.
Mhm.
And possibly to adjust the amount that we're gonna spend. I don't know if we're still planning on spending 250,000 this year or if we're gonna increase that.
So I'm curious if we will need to do a supplemental because it's going to be a reimbursable. So we'll get it back only as we spend. So some of that won't be
We
crossing.
won't receive it until we actually spend it.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
But we won't receive it on that same line item. It's a different GL code for.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
again, you're on budgetary, right? It's all general, right? This is not you know,
Mhm.
Parks and Trails is not its own separate little line item, right?
So we might be able to even budget for it and receiving it in next fiscal years if we're receiving it as we're paying for it, depending on how the timing of it all.
Yeah, because all these are this is just gonna be
Mhm.
basically be grants receivable
Mhm.
as you are expending the money, right? You
Mhm.
are paying out the cash and you're putting up a grant receivable for this money to come in. You will then bill it. There's some probability you will collect it. The probability should be very high.
Yeah.
Assuming that you spent it on things that were in congruence with the grant application. So you're not actually incurring any additional expense on any of this stuff. All you're doing is you're just receiving dollars that,
Yeah.
it's not grant revenue. It's, you have to look
The
at it.
overall fund, I guess.
Hmm?
The overall fund is gonna be all right. It's just,
Yeah.
I was thinking about more in terms of the individual line items, but.
Yeah, you may have, you might want to put in the footnotes, the financial statements that you have this reimbursable grant. We expended this much money. We received this much money for a net effect of 0, or we have a receivable amount out there for this amount, but it shouldn't be, because it's not going to be a recurring expense, right? This is, you're not going to have year over year, you're not gonna have the same thing. So I think you just book it as a receivable and not book it as an expense.
Does the grant cover the cost of the undergrounding tower? No.
Is there a match?
That'll be used as part of our match, yeah.
20%.
So we'll have money that we gotta spend on that, and that happens.
Yeah, and we've got that budget,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's you get 350,000 budget. Even if I don't have to, I'm gonna spend.
Might be able just to put it in next year's budget and put some notes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we would have anticipated that that will be a carry forward plus whatever additional money needs to go in for that boardwalk.
I'll give you a quick timeline of what I know our little group knows. We hope to put out bid requests in November. And the bids are due, second day of January. So we'll know more what's going on. Issues.
As far as undergrounding those utilities,
No, the whole project.
the whole project.
We have to, PUD makes the transformers on demand. So there might be a little bit of a hang up. It's rolling.
It's awesome.
All right, good job, guys. Okay, now we're down into comments.
Sound and lighting updates. Going right along, I think it's pretty well wrapped up. We have another bill coming in for the labor for the install, but we've spent 38,000 out of the 50,000, and I think we're still gonna come in less than 50,000, so looking good there.
Just back to the sound guys from the Celtic Festival who have been bringing their own speakers every year. They're not gonna bring in their own speakers. It's great. We use our speakers.
So that's great.
Sound guy, Jeremy met with the Celtic Festival and the big band folks and explained to him how to use it and everything. And the guy from the big band came in and he was like, Jeremy was great, he explained it really well, so we had a good contractor there.
Yeah, what I really liked hearing from that was that there was a feeling of inclusion and all of the different users were feeling really heard and supported and all together versus competing interests and competing usages. They were all able to just kind of come together and work together through it. So that's a win for me too. I think that's a big deal, is there's been a lot of competing interests to get collaboration. Is great.
I anticipated we're gonna have a little bit of spending on the civic master plan, park plan. We only ended up having to build for 5,000 instead of 20,000, so we're gonna have a little bit of extra room there. Not anticipating any more bills on that. Our public restroom is in progress. I mean, that 3,600, that's architecture costs. And our contractor's gonna start right after the Celtic Festival is over next week, so we're gonna start getting some bills on that. The cost is, it's gonna be more than that 20,000 that we budgeted, but we'll have some other line items that we can pull from.
Yeah, we'll be able to pull from the master plan and the stairs.
And you'll see a negative amount on the pavilion upgrades. That was because we had made a down payment to the contractor that we were planning on using previously. And then when we discovered how much additional work it was going to be, and that it was gonna put us into a higher category, basically that we have to put it out to bid for multiple, anybody and everybody can bid on the project. We wanted to get a refund from that original contractor so that everybody's on even playing field. Negative on ours.
So they gave us our money back.
Yeah, but the entire thing, because you had some time and materials into it already, but yeah, so you did refund us, so. So yeah, now everybody's on an even playing field, and we've got the architects starting to work on the invitation to bid paperwork, and have to have everything basically fully fleshed out to where there's no question about what we're asking for. Any contractor should be able to look at it and know exactly what we want. So I think our plan is to be posting that in February or.
What the council decided on paying planning the next.
Yeah. So, the amount is more than what we had budgeted for this year. So, when we discovered how much this was gonna cost, we took it to council to ask which direction they wanted to go with this project. Do we want to rebuild it? Do we want to raise it? You know, it was kind of a roundabout conversation in this group and, with them for a few months. And, ultimately it was decided that we would go forward and we'll time it so that part of the project lands in this fiscal with this $160,000 that's booked for it, and then we'll do the remaining into next year's budget and commit that we'll have that remaining amount to cover the full cost of the project. And so with that, we're timing, having the RFPs ready to post in February will get us ready to go and get our contractor selected, and then start construction in that April-May time zone frame. Mhm. Okay, go for it.
Next thing on our commons was the geotech study that we did for the commons edition for WebApp. We didn't really plan on doing a whole lot of work on the commons edition for WebApp this fiscal year, but we already had the folks in town to do the geotech study for the where we wanted to put the water tank on down there, so we would save some money by having them do the geotech study back behind the commons here as well at the same time, so. Applying for future CIPs for possibly next year and beyond. We're on that one, it's kind of a long story, but the short version is we need to spend quite a bit on architecture to get to a level where we have an invitation to bid document, and we're looking for grants that can pay for that architecture. The construction itself would be expensive too, so we don't want to just have to pay for the architecture if we don't have to. We'd like to get a grant for that. So we're in the grant finding phase right now on that one.
This is for the youth and family group that leases from us.
Mhm. So it'd be expanding the building out and creating space that they would have as like their own space, opening this all up to community use only. And then they would have their space only. And that was something that was identified in the master plan.
And are they also looking for grants
Mhm.
themselves? Okay. I'm hoping.
Yeah, it would be a joint
hoping there's
project.
some
Yeah,
participation
yeah,
On
absolutely.
their part.
Absolutely.
Versus what?
Mhm.
There's a grant that WIPA can get. I think we would help them do this, but for the construction, it's up to $2 million for the construction of it. But they don't pay anything pre-award, and they don't pay for architecture, so.
Getting it to that point where we could have,
That point.
yeah.
And to get that, to qualify for that $2 million for the construction, you have to have your invitation to bid already out there, and you have to have at least 3 bids from construction companies, so you have to get pretty well ready, shovel ready. Before you can apply.
And these are state grants, these are private grants, there's federal grants. Please don't tell me they're federal grants.
The particular one we were looking at was state.
Okay.
Mhm. And it would have to be YFAP that applied for that $2 billion.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Mhm.
The geotech, we also discussed doing geotech, commons where that fancy structure was going to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We held off on it when we got the estimate of how much it was gonna cost. Just because that was at the last of the master plan, so we figured we would just start here, and there was that $2 million we were looking at as potential. We hadn't learned yet the how shovel ready it had to be, but that is a step in getting it to that shovel ready point to get those grants. So we decided to hold off on that one, but it is in our mind to get that done.
We'll get back.
We could work it into next year's budget. Mhm.
That was a big project where we get carried away on it. Sure, we action.
Absolutely. We'll make a note to add that to that CIP for next year.
Get a big projects. Perhaps our biggest one that we have is the library. And so we've spent 727,000 out of 880,000 budget for this fiscal year, and we're looking good there. We're still gonna be pretty tight on the coming right up to our budget number there, but I think we're still gonna be right at it, or just a hair under our budget.
And we've already, is that 340 in this current year?
Yeah, we've already received it too.
Or in this year?
Mhm,
Okay. Is there more to receive?
No, not currently.
That's it.
mhm.
We did receive another 110,000, I think, into the library operations. I didn't put it on here because it wasn't for.
Construction.
You're right. Library operations, we got 110.
That 727 is gross spend, right? That's not net of that's not net of the grant, right?
Right.
Okay. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And it's looking awesome.
It does look awesome. Yeah, my wife and I walked by and the guy who was doing the interior goes, come on in. We walked in, looked around, go, do we need a hard hat? He goes, nah. Health and safety.
We would need hard hats in there. but,
Yes, no, it was pretty awesome. So, all right, that's great.
Interior finishings, we're in the process of getting bookcases, and we've ordered the furniture, the 4880, that's the chairs and tables and whatnot. And so we're gonna be pretty close to our budget number, but I don't think we're gonna go over at this point. I think we're-
Well, I mean, you'll be close to the budget number on the spend, but net that 340, you're
Yeah, if you take out the 340, but,
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
fine, yeah, but
And on the Little Church Museum, we're only showing $2,397 spent this year. I've asked our contractor, they keep working on it, but they haven't sent us a bill lately, so.
Mhm.
okay, but you gotta start getting to the point where you're trying to estimate what their costs are gonna be. You gotta start booking some of these estimates as accruals, so that way you're not surprised, right? So,
We have a contract.
Mhm,
yeah, I mean, you should have an understanding about how much of the construction has already gone by. You may be wrong, but you should at least be able to come up with an estimated accrual for what that cost is gonna be that's been incurred so far. Because we've incurred the costs.
Oh, you did, okay.
No, you should.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
he said he was gonna work on it too, so.
Can we double check that? Is that, I think I've signed a check.
Did you sign a check?
I think it was in the appreciable check.
And if there's any change orders, they come across our desk.
Yeah. I mean, we-
don't have them about us.
Yeah, there should be at least some way to come up with an estimation of costs incurred whenever we're putting together the financial statements, because if you've only got 2397 in the September financial statements, do you really have a full picture?
Mhm.
Something I talked to Bobby about too is, try to have a more full picture for the next one, but trying to show money that we plan on spending, that we haven't spent.
But again,
Mhm.
if you've incurred the costs, right?
Right.
They're out there doing the work,
Mhm.
you've incurred it. You haven't been invoiced, you haven't paid it, but you've
Yeah.
incurred it.
Yeah, that's exactly
Gotta
what we were
come up
talking
with-
about.
you've Gotta come up with that estimate
Mhm,
at that moment in time. You might be wrong,
mhm.
and that's okay, but it's gonna be closer than zero.
Right.
Zero is really wrong.
That is exactly what we were talking about, is having a line item with that.
I don't know, where's,
It might be an issue.
oh,
Well, we're moving and shaking.
all right,
Okay.
But yeah, we also got 130,000 in grants / gifts for the Little Church Museum too, so. Looking good there. Overall, we spent just over $1 million out of our 2.4 million budgeted for capital.
the fact that we're actually spending money this year, that we've budgeted is a huge improvement over the previous 3 or 4 years. So, on average, I'm not saying that, it's really exciting to see that things are happening.
We've been waiting for a while too, so. Good seeing that.
Yes, it is good management, both of you guys, all of you guys.
It's a team effort. It's a team effort. We're all moving and shaking.
Public Works,
Second Street Phase 3, and like I mentioned before, we're still anticipating the final invoice for that, but we've spent 186,000 out of the 284,000 for the water line. Not part of that.
I had one change order and it's like 6,000.
So we're almost done with that?
Oh, it's done.
It's done, okay. So again, this is incurred the expense, we just haven't been invoiced, so we've got to start coming up with these estimates of this is what's cash out the door and this is what we've incurred, so.
Going down the list, we got Southwest Lincoln Water, our intertie connection, we've spent a little over 10,000, 50,000 was budgeted for the year. Reed Creek water, raw water and pipeline improvements, 7,800 out of the 300,000.
We put that 7,800's engineering's about that close to being done.
Okay.
But we put the project on hold just to see how our finances go and make sure we don't have spending problems.
Okay.
Water treatment plant, annual upgrade, we spent a little over 12,000 out of 30,000.
Getting ready to max that out.
Okay.
The feasibility study for the new reservoir site, we've spent 85,000 out of 210,000. That's another one we'll be getting more bills on.
4,000 on that.
Okay. So yeah, we've gotten 20,000 in grants received and expect to receive another 80,000 in grants on that because that was part of a housing project as well. We're hoping housing up there too. So
And this is the site, the new site, right? Right.
That's the old site.
That's the old site?
That side, north side.
Okay.
I got a new proposal for this other side of LP. Around $22,000 to start the initial investment.
Okay. So what was and if you've already commented what the conclusion of that other site was, is that?
That we'd have to spend $3 million just to build the rest. Site prep would cost $3 million.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus buying the property.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good, yeah. Just didn't pan.
We're not gonna have that 750,000 of property acquisition. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's money saved.
Mhm. Thank you, Rick.
Do other things.
Just for now.
Mhm.
Don't let that money go by.
down the list, we spent 25,000 out of our 30,000 for hydrant replacements.
Big improvement.
Yes, I was looking at just how we have set out for the years ahead to do this $30,000 annual hydrant replacements and how well that will get us moving forward. After, I think it's such a big deal and kudos to the team for working towards that and making that happen and training the team to be able to do it ourselves versus having a contractor. And talking to our planner about how many houses wouldn't be able to build because they're not in a certain distance within the hydrant and kind of, that we hadn't been on the same schedule that we are now and how good that feels to be committed to making sure those get put in. So thank you guys for that.
You're all.
The public works slide gate, I think that's the last of the spending on that, unless there was gonna be a little bit more for a little pavement, there?
What's that?
Yes,
Like, we
there's gonna be a little more.
have a little bit more spending on
speed
it.
bump.
And then what's the Blackstone 126 fence?
That's already been done.
Okay.
Job's done, but why we never got an invoice for it, but. I'm not sure what's going on.
Like it was done like 2 years ago, right?
A year and a half.
A year and a half ago, yeah.
We carried it forward because we weren't sure when we were gonna receive the invoice, but
Are we still not getting an invoice?
Mm-mm. But we're holding it just in case we did.
we already got the invoice for the slide gate.
Mhm.
I don't know what they're doing.
They did have a ownership change, so maybe something happened within that.
Okay. Yeah, don't start calling people up saying, hey, we owe you money.
This can't stupid, right?
Yeah.
So for water, we're had spent 346,000 out of 1.9 million, so. Plenty to spend still yet.
Well, not really, because you're not gonna spend 750, nor are you gonna spend an additional 200,000, so you know, 950 is not gonna be spent, so it's really. $1.1 million versus 346, if you really are looking at that.
Didn't we put the fence up? Didn't we do the water treatment plant fence?
No.
Didn't we get that?
Mhm.
It's done.
Oh, the fixing of the fence. I was thinking of the gate. Yeah.
So should there be a spend in that? I was gonna ask if we have planned spend in the boosters, stations, gen sets, the meter upgrades, treatment plant fence, and what we're thinking about those.
Meter upgrades are continuous. I
Mm,
don't know when the last time Dave's purchased meters, but we had quite a few that.
I've got a nice little bill coming for that.
Okay,
Yeah, so as these things are happening, if you can communicate roughly what we think is gonna be the cost on that stuff, just so that it can be captured a little bit faster than maybe, because it sounds like some of these organizations aren't invoicing as quickly as they should be.
As soon as I send the approval, I'll certainly send that.
Yeah.
sounds like you just have to have this document up, Neil, so every time you see the
See,
agreements come through, you can tally them in.
yeah, we should have some certification for the work's done, but the bill hasn't come in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
again,
sure.
just trying to, again, you don't have to be right. Right?
Estimates.
It's just, we're just trying to come up with good
Mhm.
judgments and good estimates, and no one's gonna hold you to the fire. You go, oh, you missed by $1,000. Who cares?
Split draft.
Quick prediction. Guess we got all the water, so. Looking at wastewater, we've spent 48,000 out of the 166,000 we have budgeted for the year. The public works slide gates done with just a little bit of money to spend on that. Second Street Phase 3. Wastewater, we spent 24,000 out of the 50,000. And we've got another invoice coming. Wastewater treatment plant upgrades, spent about 1,400 out of the 85,000 we have for the year. And for the 949 property, which is the Edmonds property. We only have $161 in there, but that was just for the brush box, or not the brush box, but the dumpster that we put up there to haul off some things. But we do have another bill that's coming in.
Yeah,
Any day now. Or I want to say like 4,000.
there's a bunch of tree work.
That make it so bigger rigs can get up the road there.
You say the plant upgrades for 14,000?
1,400.
And all these sewer manholes, quiet water station improvements, outfall pipeline improvements, that's all stuff still to be done.
We're just now getting where the task orders are being agreed upon.
Okay.
Some good news, I can say it because it's like that kind of thing. The quiet water is gonna probably come in a lot less. but the Riverside is coming in substantially higher.
Mm.
Do they offset? Do they offset?
6, 7.
Do they offset? Kinda?
I remember, wasn't the Cadillac automatic, so one or something?
The kind of pump station.
So then is it gonna be better?
Yeah, it'll be similar, but it'll be have submersible.
Okay, so it's like.
Thanks for going over that, Neil, and tracking it all. And I think we'll have it even more dialed into the next time we review it with the anticipated spend. And we're getting kind of close to our meeting time end here, but I wanted to go over and what I was envisioning for a kind of a plan for our CIP planning. So I was envisioning that in January, we would ask to have all of our commissioners come and bring any projects their commissions are wanting, along with staff, any staff project requests that we want to have. And we'll have those worked into the draft CIP plan that Neil will put together, but also have the staff and commissioners come here to share any information about those projects they're requesting and why they're being requested, and have that part of that process. Hopefully, so in January, we'll also be going over our city council goals. So in February, I'd like to bring the city council kind of goals and what any of those goals that apply to CIPs and work those into the CIP budget and review those. Then and make any edits to the first draft of CIP budget that Neil puts together in February. And then in March, I'd like to have a rough draft on our operating budget to bring that for review, along with having our CIP that's in our first draft added to that, so we can see how the CIP and operations are balancing out with each other. And then in April, make a final recommendation to council. So like a good flow.
Yep,
Okay.
good for me.
Sound good for you, staff, for timelines for prepping for CIP requests?
I guess the question is gonna be, are the commissions gonna be ready?
I have been prepping them for
Alright.
months already.
Let's see, but we.
We'll see.
We've been talking to them, and being as clear as we can,
Mhm.
the expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, thank you, everybody. Anything? Oh,
I got one
one-
other thing.
Yep.
What's the latest with our auditor request?
Thank you for bringing that
You're
up.
welcome.
It slipped off my to-do list.
Okay.
And this morning I had that oh shit moment. And Neil and
Residents of Yaha.
Neil and I discussed that this morning, and it's top of our list tomorrow
Thank you.
to post.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Yeah, that's good.
thank you
You're
for,
welcome.
yes, that. It went that meeting, so sorry. Just a handful of things to juggle
No
here.
worries.
Yes.
Just a quick observation, the Mushroom Festival, I saw that the hikes, the organized hikes sold out just like that.
Mhm.
Days. Any idea of maybe making the mushroom week?
Oh. Yeah, that's a possibility. I can mention that to Nicole, our chamber director. I know that she works closely with the Mycology Society, and the Mycology Society members are the members that lead the walks, and they come from all over. So it'd be good for her to think about that and talk to them about that earlier than later. So if there was possibility of them coming over for longer periods of time, so that'd be great. Yeah, they do sell out so fast.
And do these cost money for people to take?
No, they're free.
Hmm.
Sell out.
So
Yeah.
I know, I'm like, where's that revenue that we're selling here?
And that would be in the chambers. Yeah.
Well, no, I know it's more people from outside, but wouldn't there be a lovely donation to
Cost, yeah,
YFAP or to
Mhm.
other
Mhm.
good
Mhm.
causes here in the city of Yahats?
definitely.
Right, or
Definitely.
to Neil?
Or, I mean, if they're so highly sought after, putting a pretty high charge on them and then, or at least a decent charge on them, $25, so.
Be trolley.
Yeah, there we go. Which arrives on Monday.
It arrives on Monday?
Yes,
And
we have,
who's gonna be your driver?
the, first student, we're gonna contract out with First Student, the bus company, the
Okay,
local
alright.
bus company, and they'll keep it parked and they'll maintain it and run the route and the drivers and everything.
Okay,
Yeah. So that makes it so we don't have to have a transportation department.
that would be a good thing. Or try to get elderly volunteers from the city of Yahats to drive around.
Oh, boy. I already tried to get one and it got shot down.
Tell my wife, I think I'll try and volunteer to be the trolley driver. She goes, no, you're not. Oh, okay.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much, everybody, for your contributions.
Thank you.